Greetings, Telegraph subscribers. I and everyone who's joined us for this night in with Tony Hadley. I'm not Tony Hadley, as you can see. I am Neil McCormick. I'm the Telegraph's chief music critic, and beaming in from my home in North London. And I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to chat with one of the most distinctive voices in British pop music of our times. He rose to fame as a new romantic, wearing sheets and kilts and singing about being muscle bound. And he's stayed with us for all this time. He's an old romantic now, but still singing. So all the way from Buckinghamshire, I believe. We're going to say hello to Tony Hadley. Come on in, Tony.
There you go. Hello, Neil. How are you, mate? You all right?
I'm very good, thank you.
You're not the old romantic, although I am though now, so it's a bit weird. It's kind of funny where time goes. You know, you sort of 1 minute you're there on top of the pops and you're 20 and you're going wow, and then you're 60 and you're still going wow. So it's kind of you're just a few years older.
Yes, but still romantic, and you've still got the voice. So let's start. We're going to start. I'm going to ask some questions, and then after a while, we'll put it out to our viewers. Well, how are you, and where are you?
Yeah, I'm really well. Living in actually sunny Buckinghamshire at the moment. But it's lovely. Moved out of London a few years ago, and decided to sort of embrace the countryside and everything that goes with it. And really, I'm sort of very happy. Kids are good. All my beautiful 5 children are great. My wife's great. She looks after me because I'm pretty much incapable, like most. But I'm good in some respects, but she takes care of a lot of things, which is fantastic.
So is that where you've spent the whole pandemic, and how has that been for you?
Yeah, I mean the whole pandemic's been spent here. We were on tour. We went to Japan, Australia, then America back in March last year. I snuck back in. Then they cut us all off, COVID, lockdown, everything else. And I've been, apart from one acoustic show in Italy in August, I've been here all the time. So homeschooling, I have to say, I was going to go, yeah, it's all down to me. No, it's not. It's, like every parent, I mean, the homeschooling thing was very, very difficult. But Ali dealt with the maths and the English, and I dealt with the sort of the fluffier subjects like the history, geography, and the art things. So, but it's been good. I mean, it's been difficult for families, difficult for children, but at least we can see that sense of optimism that's creeping in there, and the sun is shining, and we all feel like we've got somewhere to go at last. I start working again, hopefully towards the end of June, and then it's festival season, and I'm just hoping and praying that they're still going to be there, and then 2022. Is absolutely chock-a-block. I mean, it's ridiculous. And we moved my 40th anniversary tour from 2020 to 2022. So that's going to be good fun, actually. That'll be touring all those places that I haven't been to in many, many years.
Well, you're a singer who hasn't been able to perform. So let's talk about that. How do you keep the voice in shape for one thing?
Well, you'll see me, if you see me driving around, you'll often see me singing. And I mean, sometimes I will be singing to my own stuff because I've got to try and remember the words. It's been a long time. But then I'll be singing to things like Journey and Queen and, Kaiser Chiefs, The Killers and stuff like that. So, and also I sing at home. And the nearer we get to the gigs, the more I'm going to have to ramp it up. So it'll be at least an hour a day, 4 or 5 days a week. And just to, it's like anything. It's like if you don't run for 6 months and then you start from a standstill, you're going to hurt yourself. So I keep it constantly oiled up. And I do take my voice very seriously. And I've read books on it and studied it and was trained with an opera singer, Pamela Dodds, when I was very young. A very lovely lady.
Okay, well, let me talk about that. So, when did you first identify yourself as a singer?
Wow. Well, quite a lot of people know. Originally, I wanted to be a surgeon. I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. And so there's a lot of people that have breathed a massive sigh of relief over the years. To be really honest with you, I went to Damien in school where we met as a band. The maths, physics, and chemistry, no, forget it. It just wasn't working. We used to go to Pontin's holiday camp with me and my mum and dad and brother and sister. And I was singing in the choirs at school, in primary school, Clerkenwell Parochial, then Damien Owens, sang at the Guildhall in London, and realised, I loved singing. It was absolutely fantastic. Then realised I wanted to take it a step further. So I started going into singing competitions, and I won, and everything went really well. The girl that I liked all week, we went out for a while and stuff like that. And I remember the worst bit about it was the first time I ever sang on stage. I sang Lady Madonna, and halfway through I forgot the lyrics. And that has haunted me ever since. I've had nightmares about forgetting the lyrics. But luckily for me, the people out there, was 400 people out there, so it was quite a lot. I was about 14, I think it was at the time. And people said, "Hey, son, hey, you're all right. You're not too bad, you." I signed a few autographs, and I thought, this could be a job for me. This could be a job for life. I carried on winning competitions, winning the weekends away for my parents and stuff. And then we formed the band when I was 16. Okay. Was the first kind of band that led up to Spandau Ballet.
So let's talk about your vocal style, because it is very distinctive. You're very full and singing out style, which is not, so in rock you get that a bit, but in pop it's often a bit more modulated, although you do a bit of that as well. But let's talk about that style. Where does that style come from?
Well, the teacher that I trained with, Pamela Dodds, Canadian opera singer, was her whole ethos about singing was to preserve your voice, to keep your identity. But there was an element of that sort of operatic thing that came into the teaching. Plus, my mum and dad, although I was massively into punk and Queen and Rod and Bebop Deluxe and Mark Bolan, T-Rex and everything, my mum and dad used to play the Sinatra records in the lead up to Sunday lunchtime. And they said to me, "Listen, if you do want to go become a singer, don't just discard all the old guys. Take a chance, just listen to them, listen to their phrasing and everything." So I did. I started, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, Jack Jones, Johnny Mathis, Mel Torme, Mario Lanza. So all those, and if you listen to early Sinatra, he's actually quite operatic in his approach in the early days. And so all those guys I started listening to their phrasing and everything else. And so when you listen to something like To Cut a Long Story Short, which was the band's first single, it was all very to cut. It was all very kind of serious. And my sort of style has eased up over the years. It's not quite so structured now. It's a bit easier. I think I would have driven everybody mad if I carried on singing like that. So
I'm going to interrupt my own flow of questions to throw in a question from one of our attendees, a guy who's asked a question. What are you supping?
It's a little pint of Abbott's. Very, very nice it is too. So I don't normally drink during the week, I'll be honest with you. I don't normally drink during the week, but I kind of been looking forward to this, and I sort of, I thought I'd get myself all ready, do my hair and fluff it up a bit. And I thought this is quite a big interview. So I thought I'd be joined by a pint of Abbott's.
So, you're a big guy, 6'4", are you?
Well, it used to be. I'll be honest with you. I've lost a bit of height. I mean, even my brother, I've lost about 1.5 inches. My brother said to me, "So you're getting smaller." I said, shut up, No, I've got 3 discs that are compacted.
Oh.
So I think that's running with weighted backpacks, playing football, during the summer for charity football with the Arsenal X11 mob, and you're just hitting the ground and it's just pounding your spine. Plus stock car racing, I've been T-boned a couple of times whilst doing that. And if I'm honest, it doesn't do you any good. But saying that, I still like to keep fit. I'm back running again after several knee injuries, and I want to play football again. I'm not very good at it, but I really want to get back to playing football.
Okay. So you've kept fit during lockdown. You've kept your hair cut.
That's down to Ali. Every now and again, Martha the dog, little Martha the dog. She's not around at the moment, but she's lovely. So it's get the dog shears out or the dog clippers. And I did post it on YouTube or whatever it was, just as a bit of fun for people, so they can have a laugh during lockdown. And but this latest time when she cut it, quite a few weeks ago now, she then got out her special cutting scissors, and at that point I was scared. But she actually did a really, really good job. So yeah, thanks very much, Al.
So back to singing in those early days. Fashion was a huge thing for Spandau Ballet. As you came. You basically latched onto and became the band for this new romantic post-punk movement. Were you always into fashion, or did that come out of the gang, or was it something you were into?
I think I was always into it in some way. Whether I got it right all the time, I'm not so sure. Even before I joined the band, I would do weird stuff. Like I remember, do you remember desert shoes? Those kind of suede. I would wear them when they just weren't fashionable, just to wind people up, just to be awkward. And I suppose I've always, as a person, been a little bit awkward sometimes about things and tried to, I've not been completely conventional all the way along. And the whole fashion thing, especially when punk came along and we formed the band, I embraced that. I thought punk was amazing. I'd go and see a live band 3 or 4 times a week. Most of the time they weren't very good, but it was a great atmosphere. And despite what people said, it wasn't violent or anything. I mean, it did have elements of that as it went on. But initially it was just bands playing in pubs, and I absolutely loved it. I found it fantastic. And then, of course, as time moved on, the bands we changed names. And when we were the Makers, we were sort of almost like a Generation X sort of power pop band. And ironically, we signed to the same record company as Generation X eventually. So we wore these pop art T-shirts with kind of bright fluorescent green, orange trousers, and we were very much a kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, So, but it was great fun, and we actually got quite a lot of recognition. We started to get some of the music papers were giving us good reviews, but never enough to get signed by a record company. Then when we became the Gentry, which was almost like a soul band, which was just really weird. That didn't really work. Then we nearly broke up, and then we bought the synthesizer. We bought the Yamaha CS10 synth, and that then changed the whole sound of the band. Billy's was happening in London, post-punk. Then the Blitz Club with late lovely Steve Strange and Rusty Egan. So there was a whole kind of different movement going on. And in those days, you didn't have social media, so it was just kind of word of mouth. But it was exciting. I mean, it was a great time. We had such a laugh. It was great. Dressing up, going out and having a giggle. It was good fun.
And what was your most memorable look? I mean, we've seen you in kilts, we've seen you in togas, and of course the beautiful suits. So what are the looks that you remember?
Well, there's a couple. Bless her, Melissa Kaplan. She's a lovely girl, great designer. Lived in the Warren Street squat with Chris Sullivan and all the gang there and stuff. And she used to make these kind of leather outfits, were quite amazing. So they were literally, it was kind of poppered from the top all the way down the legs, around the crutch and everything else. But there was one problem. The popping machine she had was not a very good popping machine. So consequently, I was at this do looking super cool. I've got my new outfit on. I had fur around the top of my boots. and I'm looking smart. I think I'm looking great. And of course, as I bend down, popper comes off. Another popper comes off. So I end up with gaps in my legs around my crutch. And all these poppers were just flying off everywhere. I was like, no. So there were moments like that. There were big fashion faux pas. And also probably dressed as a blacksmith in Musclebound. It was a memorable moment, but probably not the fashion highlight of my life. Although I was trying to be a blacksmith, a new romantic blacksmith.
What's the wildest thing you would wear now?
Do you know, I'm a great believer in growing old reasonably gracefully. Keep that as young as you can, for as long as you can. Be a child in the world and enjoy it for as long as you can. But I actually liked it when Spandau got to the suit period with True and the kind of Wyatt Earp type look and the smart suits. And I thought, oh, I like this. This is nice. And that's when all the mums went, oh, he looks ever such a nice boy, doesn't he? Oh, I would like to marry my daughter, because I looked all smart and coiffured and stuff. So I've really gone for the suit look. I looked at Sinatra, Jack Jones and Tony Bennett, and I thought, those guys, they're getting older, but they still look super cool. And also Robert Palmer. I always thought Robert Palmer always looked so smart. And I thought, I'm not going to try and wear leather trousers at 60. They might fit. I'm not sure now. They might even fit. You never know. But I just thought to myself, just get a really cool suit, fine Italian material, and that's probably the most outrageous thing that I wear these days. Unless I'm doing the garden, of course. Did
you enjoy fame? It seems like you enjoyed fame. You seem to have always taken a pretty positive attitude to your job, but we know there's a lot of pressures, and we're kind of aware of them now much more, that you are isolated from regular people, from real life, that every movement is watched, can make you very self-conscious, and then that you're on the road all the time as a band, so there's a lot of being away from home. There's the drinking and the drugs that are used as alleviations, and we see a lot of damage coming out of fame. It's got a much worse reputation than it might have had in our day. Did you?
Yeah. Well, I think it's tougher for the younger bands. I mean, when I look at a band like One Direction, I mean, great. I love a great pop band. My daughter Zara loves 1D, still loves 1D. The pressures on them, the social media pressures, and they were such a huge band that the demand on their time, because as soon as you become slightly famous, the record company are going to rinse you for every bit of energy you've got. You're on every promo trip, and you want to do that because you're young, you're energetic, but there does come certain points which happens on tour when you're touring and you're doing promotion, where your energy levels, no matter how young you are, just dip, and you just want to be on your own in your hotel room, or just sitting at the bar with a couple of your mates, just having a beer, and you want to be home. I mean, I found that if I was on a long tour, if I had one day off, I'd literally fly home just to get a bit of respite. It does get quite tough. I think it gets quite. My attitude has always been, though, don't take it too seriously. Just because people are going, oh, Tone, you're wonderful, you're lovely, and the girls are going, oh, don't take that too seriously. Don't believe the hype. And be polite to people while you're on your way up as well, because trust me, there's always a leveling off period where you're gonna slip down the slope, and that's when sometimes being polite and being a decent person will put you in good stead with some of the promo people and the radio stations and people like that. And that's not me putting on an act. I like being nice to people, and I like people to be nice to me too.
Okay, before I continue with my own line of questioning, I'm going to throw in a couple of the questions that have popped up from our attendees. Is there anywhere in the world, this is Samantha asks this, is there anywhere in the world you wanted to visit on tour but haven't got around to yet?
Yes, I'd love to. I've never been to China. Love to go to India. I've only ever been to St. Petersburg in Russia. and I'd love to tour Russia. Been to certain parts of South America, but not enough. And there's parts of Southeast Asia I'd love to go and visit, holiday-wise or gig-wise. And so any Russian, Chinese or Indian promoters out there, I could be available.
Do you ever do that? I'll tour there because I haven't been there. I'm open to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes we'll just try and orchestrate something. If I'm in a certain country, I was doing an interview with, where was he from now? Somewhere in South America. Really nice chap. And I just happened to start talking to him, and he said, "Oh, well, my brother-in-law is the vice president of the country." And I said, I really want to come to your country and play a show. I mean, I like traveling. I love hanging out with my band. I like tour buses. I like back-to-back gigs. I mean, there's not many artists that like tour buses. I love them. Right. They're great fun. And so I enjoy that whole aspect. I mean, sometimes, having a day off when you're in some beautiful Italian town and there's the wonderful restaurant just across from the hotel, that's a great day off. But I love gigging. I'm lucky that I'm doing it. I've been doing it for 40 plus years, 40 professionally, and I absolutely still love it. I'm very, very lucky, very lucky.
So how do you feel talking about Spandau Ballet now that it's over and it all ended in tears, not once but twice? So.
Yeah. I don't have a problem talking about Spandau. I mean, I think you have to put it in context. There were some wonderful times. We had some amazing times. I wouldn't be here now talking to you if it wasn't for what happened between me and the boys and all the hit records we had and everything. So there were some amazing times. But like lots of relationships, be it bands, be it marriages, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it might be, sometimes you just reach a point where it just doesn't function anymore. That happened back in 1990 where it just wasn't fun. I think the key to this is that music's got to be about fun. If you're on stage and you're not happy, trust me, the audience will see that. They'll see that. They can hear it in your voice. They can see the interaction between the players on stage, and they can sense that you're only doing it because of the buck. And I think when it gets to that stage, that's time to sort of pack it up. And then we had, obviously, everyone knows 20 years, court cases, all that shenanigans. And we did finally get together on two tours, 29, 210 and 214, 215. And then the wheels all came off again. So it's, listen, I'll be honest with you, and I'm still not going to reveal why, but certain actions were taken against me that, honestly, if they'd been taken against you, you would have left the band as well if you'd been in the band. You just don't do that. And it wasn't pleasant. And I know there's been a lot of backlash from some of the fans out there who said, "Oh, it's tone this and tone that." That isn't the case. I left for a very specific reason, because they started certain actions against me that I thought, well, I can't go on like this, and they certainly can't be my friends. And I actually do wish, I've watched them several times on TV, and I do wish that one interviewer would ask one of them, why did Tone really leave the band? Don't sugarcoat it. Don't say, because, he wasn't happy anymore or anything. What did you do to make him leave the band? And I'd be really interested to hear if any of them had the guts to give the truth, to talk about the truth. It'd be interesting, actually.
Well, we'll try that.
An interview for you.
I think Gary's got a solo album coming up, so maybe we'll see that one in. It's always sad for fans, because a band is viewed as a gang, a sort of surrogate family almost. And Spandau were absolutely viewed as a gang.
Yeah.
Are those relationships broken? Is that gang over? Do you still have any warmth towards those gang members?
Well, I have fond memories of the good times. I don't have very fond memories of the bad times, that's for sure. The only person I'm in touch with in the band is Steve Norman. He had some certain things happen to him over the last couple of years, and so we're in contact with each other. But I haven't seen the rest of them for, I don't know, 5 years. I resigned from the band, and that's it, unfortunately. I mean, let me put it this way. I didn't want to leave the band. I was forced into a position where I had no option but to leave. And they went ahead with Ross William Wilde, a couple of my band members, a couple of my mates know him anyway. And I sent him a good luck message. I said, listen, just have a good time but watch your back kind of thing. And but there was, I don't know, just certain, it wasn't very pleasant, put it that way.
Okay. Well, they only managed 5 gigs with Ross William Wilde, and then he's left. So, and Martin Kemp has said that Spandau wouldn't get back together unless Tony came back. There's been a couple of those kind of mutterings.
Yeah, I know.
What would you say the chances of that ever happening are?
I'll be very, very plain about it. No, it was great while it lasted. I didn't want to leave, and I'm sorry for the fans, but I've resigned. That's the end of it. And I kind of wish everyone would just realise that, you started it with the manager against me, so this is the consequence. I left the band. Your lead singer left the band.
Okay.
Elvis left the building, as they say. So, yeah, honestly, Neil, it is a shame. I think it's really sad.
So, one thing is the main point of the clash was that was there even in the earlier days and was visible in certain interviews was between you and Gary. He was the songwriter and in some ways the boss, and you're the singer and in some ways the boss. And there was obviously a clash. Now, I know both of you. I speak to both of you. And you're both very charming people. I mean, really easy to chat to, both of you. So why is there so much tension between the two of you? And I wonder, is it political? Because you come from very opposite sides of the political dimension.
Absolutely. No, I don't think it's political, though we agreed many, many years ago when we were very young not to talk about our politics, because that would always have, we would always clash on that. No, I think sometimes, we had some great times together. He's a great songwriter. I would never take that away from him. He absolutely is. The thing is I think he wanted to be the boss. But ultimately, if you haven't got your lead singer, you can't be the boss of anything, can you? So, and unfortunately, over the years, we just, I don't know. Even in the early days, we did clash at times. But then, fortunately, we went through some brilliant times together, and there were some lovely times. So I remember the good times, and I try not to look at the bad times. So, you just got to be philosophical about it. That's life,
Okay, you're one of the very few pop stars, rock stars, who is openly a conservative supporter.
Yeah.
Do you find much objection to your political views in the music community, or is there more a secret conservative supporting than we might be aware?
I don't know. I don't get anyone come up to me and go, "Oh, Tone, you're a Tory." And come on, really? Listen, people have their own political views, whatever they might be, and I'm not radical in any way, sense, not in any way. I once said to someone, I think I'm a conservative communist, and I do genuinely believe that everybody is equal, but I don't see anything wrong with making a few quid. So it made them laugh, and I think that's the thing. I mean, I treat people as I want to be treated. I treat everyone from wherever you come from, whatever your background, ethnicity, sexuality, whatever it might be, I treat you as an equal. And that's the way we should all be with each other. And I don't quite understand why we're so violent towards each other, and just because you've got a different political view or you're from a different religion or a different country and everything else. And I know, we've all spoken about this a million times. Look, just get on with each other. And so I'm very much what I call a very caring conservative. I think those people that need looking after, we should look after them to the nth degree, provide everything that they need, and give them every blanket and every springboard that we can for people to get back in to normal life. And I however much money that takes, I believe that we should always do that. But at the other end of the spectrum, we should also, we have to stand up on our own 2 feet. We can't rely on the state, the government, all the time to sugarcoat it all the time. We there's a degree of independence there, and I think most people have got that. But like I say, the people that do fall on hard times, we should help, as I said, to the nth degree.
Okay.
Sounded like a political speech.
Yes. Well, you're going to stand.
You've got to be, Neil, you've got to be joking. I am not ever going to stand, but I've been asked to stand for Parliament. I'm quite happy to stand on the sidelines. I know people in Parliament and everything else. And what's interesting, and this is the interesting thing, is that when you do go to Parliament and you go to the bar and you sit on the beautiful balcony with the sun shining, there are people from all different political persuasions, all having a beer together, all chatting, Conservative, Labour, Lib Dems, whatever it might be, SNP, Greens. So, and it's kind of, the public have this, in a sense, misconception that everyone's at war with each other all the time. But, there's a lot of charitable things, cross-party charitable things as well. And you see all these different people from different political parties, and they're all getting on famously well. They get on great, but they just don't agree sometimes on the same policies. Okay.
You haven't made a lot of solo albums. I mean, you've been out performing, you've done a lot of different, but there hasn't been a lot of solo albums. You had one in 2018, Talking to the Moon, and you wrote songs on that, which is, and it was pretty strong. Any plans for more solo recording?
Funny you should mention that. I'm sorry if I'm getting light coming in from everywhere. It's a weird light time. I started writing the last album, Talking to the Moon, took forever. And I kept on going back, rewriting, remixing, re-recording and stuff. And the new album, pretty much all the songs are there. The only 2 songs that I managed to get a vocal on before we went into lockdown was Obvious, which we released last summer, which was a real kind of jolly, happy, be together, I love you, babe, and all that kind of stuff. And then the other song, Because of You, which is possibly going to be the next single once we fully come out of lockdown.
Okay.
Now I've got to get into the studio and start putting vocals on the rest of the tracks. But I'm really excited. I mean, you don't really make money from albums anymore. So I'm just doing this because I like working in the studio. I like writing. I like working with other people. The fabulous TH Band, we're writing songs together. And I just believe, just take it nice and easy. There's no rush for it. And I think we should be finished with a bit of luck in 2022.
Okay. So how much are you looking forward to getting back out on stage?
Honestly, there are some artists that get to the point where they don't really want to tour anymore. They get too nervous about going on stage. They don't like the traveling. I get nervous before I go on stage, but once I'm on stage, I'm in one of the happiest places that you can imagine. And I love being on stage. I love singing. I'm surrounded by brilliant, they're friends, amazing musicians. And, if you get on there and your voice is feeling good, the monitors are working, you can hear all the band. As soon as you hit that first song, it's almost euphoric, which sounds a bit fluffy, but it makes you feel, it's a weird sense of power that you get. And then you hope that the audience are going to like you too. So I think what's been actually interesting is a lot of younger people coming to the concerts now. And I know we all talk about Spotify and streaming and everything, but it does enable people to go and check out old Spandau, Duran, Led Zepp, whatever band you're into. And so we get a lot of younger kids now at some of the festivals who are actually singing that they know the words to everything and the new stuff too. So thank you very much.
So I'm going to throw this open a little bit. So we've got a bunch of questions here. I've asked you a couple of them that people are sending through. So I'm going to go through a few more that I'm scrolling down here. Stephen asked a question. What song do you wish you had sung as your own? Well, you've got some songs that really are, you know, your song, whether some Spandau Ballet hits that gold, that's your voice, you know, true. What song would you really like to have as your own song?
Well, Through the Barricade, I think that's my ultimate Spandau favorite. I think it was the song, you know, it was the song that was written with a bit of a story, you know, for people who don't know, based on the troubles in Northern Ireland, you know, the love across the divide, Romeo and Juliet. But it's just got everything as a singer that you need. It's got the lovely soft tones at the beginning and then the anthemic section when the drums come in. So it's, for me, it's a really complete song. And when we play it live on stage, what's interesting about performing live as well is the reaction that you get from different people. You know, it could be true, and then you see people hugging each other or kissing each other. That was their wedding song. And it just brings back memories. And Through the Barricades is the one song that you might look out and see people actually shedding a tear, and that's really difficult when you're singing. It's like, because I'm quite an emotional person. I cry at every film. My daughter Zara's like, "Oh, Dad, you're not crying again, are you?" Know? And so I can't look at people when they're getting upset, because I'll just get upset myself. And it's kind of weird. But one of the songs two of the songs actually, well, 7 of the songs the last time I really loved working on and writing. Unwanted, that I wrote with Mick Lister, pretty hard-hitting lyric as well, about, you know, two people who just get to the point where they just cannot be together. It's just, you know, it's a lyric that's been written 1,000 times, but you know, I'm really, really proud of that song. And then What Am I, which was, I remember when I first wrote the lyrics for that, Mick just said to me, "Oh," he said, "you're a bit angry, aren't you, Tone?" I said, "Okay, I better tone it down a bit." Do you think I should try and pull the curtain now?
I don't think it's coming in from that curtain. It's going to be coming in from the other side.
Aha, shall I go and do that?
Okay, you can go and do that.
Everybody holds on a second.
And this is where I'm left to hold the floor and possibly tell a few jokes, or let me see, look. All it took was the curtains. We can examine Tony's interior decor while he's gone there.
Hey!
I have a question from Irene. Are any of your family following in your musical footsteps?
Well, I did think, both my sons, Tom and Mac, both play drums, good drummers actually. Tom's self-taught in guitar. Never been interested in getting into the music business, not in any way, shape or form. I think they've seen what their dad's been through and said, no, we're not going to go down that route. My daughter Tony, she's got a good sort of semi-operatic voice. I thought she might go into it at one point, but she didn't. The one who looks like she's going to go for it is Zara. Funny enough, we've just been watching videos of the girls when they were younger, and she's destined to be on the stage. She really is. She's a good singer. She's a very, very good singer. Really, she's come on leaps and bounds. But she wants to be an actress. And do you say actress anymore? An actor? I don't know.
You say actor now.
Actor, okay, actor. She wants to be an actor, and she won a drama scholarship, and she's good, yeah. I mean, but I've never pushed any of my kids to go into the music business or the world of art, because it's a difficult business. It's whether you're painting or you're a sculptor or whatever you might be, it's such a hard business. And I think the music business now, I mean, I really feel for some of the young bands and young artists, it's some of them are just getting signed on 1 or 2 singles. They don't even get an album deal anymore. And then the record companies want a 360 deal. They want publishing, merchandising, touring. It's great. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it has got a lot harder. I mean, it's much harder to see how people make money in the future. I've got a question from Eleanor.
Hello.
She would like to know, Tony, have you thought about taking on the Great American Songbook?
Well, I did. I sort of did. I made an album called Passing Strangers a few years ago, which actually isn't on Spotify. I suppose I should get it on. And typical me, I didn't want to make you use your fly me to the moon, all that. It's been done a million times. So I mean, I'm a massive fan of not just Frank Sinatra, but Jack Jones and Tony Bennett. So I took kind of more obscure 60s kind of based swing songs, and I made an album. It's called Passing Strangers. Very, very proud of it. I think it's I know that Bruce Forsyth congratulated me on it, and which was great, and he was lovely actually. So I mean, it did pretty good, but it wasn't. I mean, for me, I just didn't want to do the obvious swing album, because they've been covered. All the usual ones have been covered a million times, and I just didn't want to do it. Okay. So it's a bit different. Check it out. You might like it.
There's a question here. You might not want to answer this one, but we can broaden it out. Have you met anyone in the world of music? This is from Tony, another Tony. Have you met anyone in the world of music who you didn't expect to like but did? Or conversely, has any of your heroes disappointed you?
Wow. I'm trying to think there.
In my life, it's one of the strange things is that I'm now sort of friendly with people like Mike Batt, who was, of course, the Beatles when I was a kid, and I met Rick Astley. What a lovely guy. Whereas I would have been all rock and roll and sneery about Rick Astley in the day, but he is a lovely human being.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because there's certain. I mean, you've touched on something there. When I remember when I was a younger fella and we were all in the Blitz dressed like Robin Hood and Captain Scarlet. And we were going, all those old rockers, the Stones, the Paul McCartneys, all those, they should all give up. Now, they were only about 33, 32 or so. And I remember we used to really go on about the old rockers who were actually really quite young. But there we were the angry young men, and we thought they should all jog on and retire. You very quickly get to 33, 34, and you get to 60, and you realize, actually, I still feel like I'm a kid in a sweet shop. I still feel like that 28-year-old or that 20-year-old. And so I'm not going to give up music. And one of the amazing, I still actually get really quite impressed when I meet other musicians. And when you meet your heroes that you watched on Top of the Pops as a young kid, or even now, artists for other bands and stuff, and they turn out to be so lovely, and you're thinking, wow, that's really cool. And whether it be Rod, Elton, Freddie Mercury, Dave Gilmour, Ricky Wilson from the Kaisers or whatever, Danny from the Script, you meet these guys over the years, and they're all really lovely. And musicians do, contrary to what people think, do tend to gravitate towards each other. And one of the most interesting things is that all those heavy rock bands that you think are going to be are the most loveliest, politest people. On 1 minute they're on stage, gurning, and the next minute they're just such lovely people. I met a lot of rockers. In fact, I think I'm a closet rocker. I would love to have been in a proper rock band. Bruce from Iron Maiden, what a voice! What a voice!
Well, there's still time. There's still time. Miriam asks, "What's your favorite punk song? What was your favorite punk song?"
Oh, favorite punk song. The band I saw most were the Clash. Loved the Clash. Oh, one of my favorite bands. I'm going to have to say, actually, I'm going to say Anarchy in the UK. Because there was just the Pistols, I don't know, there was something about them. Great pop band, and Steve and Johnny Lydon and Glenn Matlock, great guys, really, really cool guys. And I mean, Jonesy, I used to play football with when I was in LA for a while. He's just such a lovely man. And but Anarchy in the UK, really, as a young kid, as an angry young man, it had everything that you wanted a nasty song to have. So that's probably my favorite, actually.
Okay. Irona, I think her name is Irona, asked, in your career, you sung rock, pop, orchestral, musicals, dance, and ballads. Do you have a favorite genre?
To be honest, yeah, just kind of pop rock, really. I mean, I love, there's pop, which I love, but I like it with an edge. That's why some of my favorite bands are Killers, Kaisers, AWOL Nation, Panic at the Disco, that kind of, those kind of bands. And so they're pop songs, but they've got a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a guitar, a bit of a rock edge. That's probably my favorite stuff. But then again, sometimes you put on a bit of swing, and that fulfills a moment in your life, which is beautiful. And I mean, and also the last few days, been listening to the radio with the Duke of Edinburgh's death, and they've been playing sort of really kind of chilled kind of music, and a lot of stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like ballads and stuff. And I think, wow, what a beautiful song! I haven't heard that for years, and it's only because of his death that they're, out of respect, they're playing all these beautiful, beautiful songs. And yeah, so I suppose pop rock first, but I like it all, really. I just like music. I like classical music and opera too.
Kathleen asks, do you have a most memorable gig that you ever played?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is Live Aid, which was pretty amazing. I remember we played a gig in Madrid, and it was in our own right, Spandau, in the mid-80s. 90,000 people came along to see. I was like, 90,000, that's the biggest audience I've ever played in front of, bigger than the Live Aid audience. And that was truly amazing. So Live Aid, that was amazing. Also Mandela, the Nelson Mandela concert was incredible. And then when I last played the Royal Albert Hall, I played with an orchestra. And playing with an orchestra is something really, really special. So I've got the Fab TH band as the rock core bass, surrounded by this beautiful orchestra. And at the sound check, the last minute, I said, I want to sing My Way as the last song. And everyone went, we haven't really rehearsed it. I said, doesn't matter. You've got the sheet music, let's just do it. And I just felt that I'd been through a lot, and your ups and downs. You have to have gone through so much to be able to sing a song like that. And you have to be a certain age, I believe. And I sang it, and it's such an emotional song. And it was just a moment. And everyone just got to their feet, and it was like, wow, that's pretty special. Pretty special.
Guy asks, was there really a Spandau Duran war, or was it all PR?
It's all PR. Most of it was a load of nonsense. You never believe what you, no offense, Neil, but never believe what you read in the press. It's I can't tell you how many times I did this and I did that and I did that. Hold it a minute, I was in a different country on that day. I'd never even been to that club, and there's been so many concoctions about this, that, and everything else. No, just the Duranis. I've always been a big fan. We met them first. Spandau were playing at Botanical Gardens in Birmingham, and I don't think either of us were signed. I don't think the Duranis or the Spans. And so after the show, we went along to see them at the Rum Runner Club, and they all of them were there, and we had a great night, fantastic, really, really good fun. And I've always been a big fan ever since. And I like the fact they're not afraid to do new stuff, in terms of embrace new technology and everything else. And I like the style. Great songs. And Simon, I think, is a great singer.
Okay. I'm just looking at these questions. There was a question here I'm scrolling through on the side, which is quite an interesting one. But I've lost it, so I have to find out who asked it and give them a name check. But they're saying, is there, what would you think would be the possibility of something like a V&A exhibition of all the Spandau Ballet iconic outfits?
I haven't got most of them. I don't know. I actually did. We found my daughter, Tony, she found my Live Aid leather, double thickness leather coat that I wore in 88-degree heat when we did the Live Aid concert. And it's still intact. It's not been eaten away. And so at some point, I do sometimes think to myself, why did I wear that coat on one of the hottest days? Because it looked good. Because it looked good. And, I was sweating, dripping. I came on stage, and I remember some of the other artists just looked at me and thought, nah, I'm not going to do that. But no, so I found it. So when we come out of this whole COVID thing completely, then we'll auction it for charity and hopefully raise a few quid. Most of my outfits, to be honest, I don't know where all the frilly shirts. I probably got rid of them or donated them to charity over the years, but I know that I haven't got much. There's not much there. Sorry.
Stuart, who says it's great to see you on such good form. Tony, any 80 stars from outside Spandau that you got on particularly well with personally? I'm thinking now that, there's often those kind of those nostalgia gigs are now where you have a bunch of 80s artists performing the same shows. They may have all been frilly shirts and daggers drawn and synths at the ready to come blows with in the 80s, but now you're all kind of sharing stages. So who do you get along with out of the 80s?
Well, I've never not really got along with anyone, really. I mean, I'm pretty, as you probably tell, I'm pretty horizontal. I mean, I'm not a particularly antagonistic person. There's certain things I don't like, and I will always defend people that can't defend themselves, etc. But generally speaking, I'm pretty kind of easygoing. And as I said before, most artists, what you don't want to get is 3 singers in a room. Oh my God, it's such a boring conversation. How's your first stage? Oh, it's feeling a bit rough. Oh, I'm a bit tense. No, you don't want that. You don't want that. So, but honestly, most artists, when you get together backstage, it's just fun. You're having a beer and a glass of wine. You're getting excited about going on stage. I spoke to Lee John just the other day, and he's, we go back a long way. And the trouble is with Lee, you can't get him off stage. Once he's on, you just can't get, and there's someone at the side going, come on, mate. But no, I mean, they're all great. The Westies, the Martin Fry, Mark Allman, brilliant, Midge, Hazel O'Connor, I mean, all of them. And the modern bands that you meet as well are all really, really sweet. And very, very rarely, I don't think I've ever met anyone that I really took a dislike to. But then people say to me, well, that's because you're Tony Hadley. And of course, they're not going to dish you, as they say these days. They're going to be nice to you. Because, sometimes I've heard of stories where, young kids have gone up to artists and said, oh, excuse me, can I have your autograph, please? And they've just dismissed them. And I've never done that. I think that's really, really cruel. And I think, if you're in a position, as long as you're not waiting to jump on a plane or whatever, always give a little bit of time for an autograph, especially to younger people as well, because they'll remember that. That's a moment. And if you're not prepared to do that sort of thing, don't be in a band. Don't become famous.
Okay, we're coming to the end of this time, so I'm going to ask the last question that I've got up here. I wasn't able to ask all the questions, so sorry to people who posted questions that didn't come through. But Nicola asks, what will be your next challenge? Having done Machu Picchu and I'm a Celebrity, you've been in the jungle, you've been up mountains, you've done a lot of those type of challenges. What's your next challenge?
Well, Strictly Come, no. Sorry. Strictly Come Dancing. I've been asked about 6 times to do Strictly. And Ed Balls, who's a really lovely fellow, he's a really nice guy. And I said once, I make Ed Balls look good. Because my wife and all her friends think that they go, oh, go on, you should definitely go and do shit. It's a, whoa, don't do lycra. I've worn some really weird stuff in my time, but I don't do lycra. And half a ton of spray tan and makeup and everything else. And no, I mean, I admire how brilliant they are and how technical they are. I did go on Strictly on the last series actually to do the presentation, you know, phone this number, because it is an amazing show. We all love it. But talking to the people that are doing it, I don't think the public, they're doing 11 hours a day, 6 days a week. I mean, just the amount of training and concentration they've got to do. And if anyone's seen me, I mean, Brendan Cole is a good mate of mine, lives just up the road. And he saw me dance once and he said, yeah, you're right, Tone, don't ever do Strictly. Because there's no chance of me ever being able to learn. And and also, I got to say, there's my wife saying, oh, go on, you should do it. And all of us. And there I am, standing with a young dancer. You got your arms all around each other going, you were wonderful. Yeah, right, that's going to go down well, isn't it?
I think you're possibly right, but you know, new skills to develop.
So to answer the question, I'm sorry, my next challenge is to finish the album and not take 10 years, and that will be done. That will be done as soon as we can. Finish. I'm really happy with songs, looking forward to the future. Yeah.
Okay, well, that all sounds great to me. So we're looking forward to a new album. We'll see you out on tour. Thank you for coming and broadcasting from your living room in
Absolutely. Even closing the curtains midway through. It doesn't get better than that.
Yes. You should have your minions. Where are your minions when you need them?
Actually, there is a lighting. No, guys, just back up. Make up. Yeah, come on. No.
Okay, well, thank you to everybody who's tuned in.
Yeah, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you. Really, really lovely. Thank you. Lovely questions. Thank you.